Welcome to Performance Anxiety. This week we speak with Elizabeth Le Fey, also known as Globelamp. We talk about growing up in LA in a really rock and roll household, not knowing who her father is. We talk about her new album, Romantic Cancer, and it's actually a lot funnier than all of this sounds. We discuss her influences and moving from LA to Olympia to intern at K Records. Give her a follow at Globelamp on social media and give us a follow at Performance ANX on Instagram and Twitter. Check out our shop on Threadless at performanceanx.threadless.com. And don't forget to rate and review our shows. It really helps us a lot. Doesn't matter where you listen to. Don't forget to rate and review. Thanks a lot, and enjoy this episode with Elizabeth Le Fey or Globelamp.
Hello, this is Sherry. Hold on. Is that good though? Do I just say like, hey?
Yeah, that's what most people do.
Okay. Hey, this is Elizabeth Le Fey from Globelamp, and you're listening to the Performance Anxiety podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm just kind of moving my stuff around here as I'm getting everything set up here. I've moved all my equipment into a new room, and so I don't have it quite set up exactly how I want it. So as I'm doing each show, I'm just trying to move things around to help wherever I want it, and I'm still not exactly happy with the way I've got it set up. So
yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
I have YouTube live. I go live on there sometimes, but I don't have an Android. I mean, I have an Android. I don't have an iPhone, so I don't have FaceTime on it. And
right.
I don't have Skype. I don't have much room on my phone.
Yeah.
I have to have Pokemon on there, and it takes up a lot of room.
Man, so is that that's still going on? I know my kids play that, and I know
it's like, remember it was like crazy at one point.
You want to hear a funny story? I'll tell you a funny story, and then we'll get a little more into this. I do a couple of podcasts, and one of them is a sports show, and it used to be. I live in Virginia, just outside of D.C., and one of them used to be a Washington, D.C. sports-centric radio show. And one of my co-hosts used to play for the Redskins. So he was a linebacker. So he's this big, like 6'3", 250-pound dude. And before every show, he's walking around my buddy's place where we used to record, trying to find all these Pokemon. I'm sitting there watching this enormous dude with his little tiny phone in his hand running around trying to find these little creatures. So,
seriously, it makes you do that. It makes you like walk. At least it makes me walk what places maybe walk more, exercise. I definitely wouldn't have been walking up and down my street randomly if it wasn't for looking for Pokemon on my phone.
Oh my gosh! Well, hey, if it gets people more active, I guess it's good. Just as long as you get your head.
Yeah, it's like, it sounds ridiculous, but it's like, I mean, if you play it all the time, it's, I wish they made it like a Game Boy or something, like where it wasn't on your phone.
Oh, that, if they could do it with like the VR stuff where you can actually see where you're going as you're trying to collect these things, might be a good idea.
Yeah, well, also people are idiots. It's like, people, you could get hurt playing any game,
Oh, yeah. Thank you for coming on tonight. I really do appreciate it. And you are Globelamp. Am I correct with that?
Yeah.
All right. So how did you come up with the name? I read that you were very influenced by Francesca Lia Block, and it has something to do with her?
Yeah. It does, because she has a book, and I have another called Bleachy Bat, and it was the second book. It's like a series. It ended up being a series. The second book, Witch Baby, there's a chapter, and they're called Globelamp. Okay. And I always thought, I was a teenager when I read these books, but this Witch Baby, it's like, this book's like a modern fairy tale in LA about like these punk people. It's very, new aging. I just like the idea of it like something glowing from the inside out. And the girl in the book was kind of depressed, and her Globelamp was like, she used to look at it and imagine that she was inside looking at the world to me that I was like glowing or something, and I just thought that was a cool name together. I thought it was. I always liked the idea of the Earth and glowing, and a lot of the emergence of technology and Earth. I mean, that's not why I particularly bought, but there's a whole lot of reasons why the name stuck with me. And then I was trying to encapsulate like a vibe of her book. That was just one of the words that popped out of one of the chapter names. So.
Okay.
And that was when I was really young too. That was just my email address. Like that wasn't my band or anything. I just liked that name. I used to have a live journal too, and I used to make a bunch of live journals. When I made up a cool username, I would just make one so I could have the name.
Right.
It's kind of weird, but it's like
hey,
but I've always been.
It works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're one of the rare people who actually claim to be an LA native. So you were actually born in LA. And if I'm
Orange County.
Okay. And if I am correct in this, your mom was, and the way I read it was, they said that she was a rocker chick who appeared as an extra in Guns N' Roses' Welcome to the Jungle video.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yes, she wasn't. It wasn't actually like an extra. It was like she said it was a live show, like a taping.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so it was like a show, and so she was like in the audience. It's like it was. She's so funny. It was like she said to me like she said she'd go back to the time she was like, this is boring, and ended up leaving.
Oh, jeez.
They kept refilming it over and over again. Yeah, she definitely was a rocker chick, and she like told me some crazy stories that Flash told her that she was the most wild, crazy girl he ever met. So
that's wild.
That point was pretty intense.
All right, so what kind of effect did that have on your musical influences growing up?
I don't know, a lot kind of, but like because. I don't know. I mean, it's like my music doesn't sound like that, but it's like I wonder who I would be without it. It's weird. Because my peers growing up, I wasn't really popular or anything. Like, I know, like, every Motley Crue song, It's like,
oh, that's a good one to know. That's a good band to know.
And, I've been to, like, just, like, all the, I mean, my mom, too, like, growing up at a rock and roll SLC meeting, like, she wasn't even sure who my dad was, okay? And had two boyfriends at the time. One of them was Ricky Rackman.
Oh, my gosh.
Who, on Headbangers Ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So have you thought about doing like a 23andMe and finding it out?
I want to, but I think it's the other guy, but it's hard to find information on him because he was Puerto Rican and he changed his name a lot and he's more mysterious. Like he died. If it's the other guy, he died. Like I had on the back, all I have about him, it's kind of weird, mysterious rock and roll story. It's like all I have is this book. It's like it's called Rock and Roll Mazes, and it's like all these labyrinths with different rock bands, and then it has like in the back, it has like a thing to my mom. It says Lynn. My mom's name's Lynn. Lynn, forever my love, and it has like a picture of him.
Oh wow!
And he looks all serious and stuff, and then in the inside it has like a biography about him, and he thanks people, different people. He thanks this weird Corey Feldman, and like a lot of random like Charlie Sheen. Like there's like a lot of weird people. I think, yeah. And then this one guy, Dan Povenmire. Okay, so I got in contact with him about like 15 years ago. Seriously, and then I found out he's like the guy who made like Hey Arnold and Ren and Stimpy and a bunch of like cartoons. He helped my dad, or the guy make the he helped, I don't know, my potential dad make he also made Phileas and Ferb and stuff.
Oh man.
He's the creator of that.
Jeez.
Okay, like Dan Povenmire, yeah. So I talked to him a long time ago, and then he told me the last he heard of my dad is he went to Puerto Rico. And then I found him on Facebook like 3 years ago, Dan, and I was like, hey, I emailed you as a teenager, remember me? Because I sent him a picture of me, and he told me I looked exactly like him.
Oh,
and then, yeah, so then when I talked to him, he like had his entertainment team look and do a background check on him. So we found out like that he died in the 90s, but this is the guy, I'm not sure he's my dad, but the guy Dan Palmer thinks I look exactly like him.
Wow.
He made Rock was Modern Life and worked on it because he's a director on Family Guy. He helped make Phineas and Ferb. He's like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, he did a bunch of stuff. Hey Arnold was a director, Cat Dog, storyboard artist, Family Guy.
Oh my gosh, my wife loves Cat Dog.
Okay, like, and so this guy was the guy who helped my dad with the book, like the dude that I think's my dad. But that's even more weird to me because it's like he's just like this random, like the people he lists as first thanks are like a lot of weird rock and roll people, like people's wives. Yeah. Like,
and then the dude who made Cat Dog.
Like, yeah, like no, it's not him. Yeah, he said special thanks to Dan Povenmire. That's why I contacted him. I said, "This book, it's a special thanks to you. Like, who are you?"
Oh my gosh, that's insane.
I know, it's not weird.
So you've got the possibility of either a Puerto Rican artist who knows a whole bunch of people, or Ricky Rackman.
I know, it's weird. It's like and my mom growing up too. Like I was raised in like pretty rock and roll, and I didn't like I was born in Orange County, but for like my younger years, I did live in LA, and one of my mom's boyfriends, he's like my I don't even know what to call him, my uncle. Like he's like a family friend of mine still. He's like I've known him since I was a little girl.
Okay,
and he's like a rocker too. We went and saw Guns N' Roses like 2 years ago. I had never seen them. You know, I grew up listening to them my whole life.
Yeah, and it all comes full circle.
Yeah, and Michael took me to fucking see him. Yeah, Michael, he's like a rocker. He went on tour with the Rolling Stones and Stevie Nicks and shit. He's like built stages for bands. He's like a total rock, tattooed, like rode motorcycles, really sweet. Like he just goes, he used to tell me stories like when Axl had, like Michael to me is like a rock and roll legend. He's from Detroit, but he lives in LA. It's like when we saw GNR, like we got to go in the pit and go backstage and stuff because of Michael. Like, he like knows them. Yeah, and so Michael, he also when Shannon from Blind Melon flew out.
Oh my gosh,
vocals.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like he didn't have anywhere to stay, so Michael was telling me how Axl just was like, yeah, you're going to come out and do the vocals in the record label play for, but they didn't think about where he was going to stay. And so he was just there. And so he stayed with Michael for like the first 4 months living in LA.
Oh, wow.
He really, it's like and so that made me always like Blind Melon marching because Michael was like, he's like, I'm telling you, he's a tough guy and stuff. But once he told me about that, he said crying once. Like, because he was just like, he's like, I knew he was like going to do something great. Like he just knew him. Like he had, and his sister made the costumes for Van Halen and Motley Crue and stuff. And his sister went to LA first. Yeah, they're both from Detroit. His sister went to LA first. He followed in her footsteps. And like, she was like, he said he went to the living room one day and there was like Ozzy Osbourne and like all these people. Like, I mean, I wasn't there for this, but that's like the shit that Michael was still pretty rock and roll, even though like he makes Black Widow jewelry.
Oh, wow.
Literally just like
so he lives it.
He lives it. Yes, he does. He lives it.
Oh my!
I just talked to him the other day. Like he's someone who, it's crazy too because it's not the most normal dynamics in the family because it's like my mom's ex-boyfriend. Yeah. She doesn't talk to him. I mean, she still loves him and cares about him as a person.
Right. But you talk to him more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because he was more like a father figure to me or something. Her and him would fight and stuff. Me and him as more like a pure relationship.
Yeah.
But it's cool because he supports my music, like when he heard me, it just meant a lot to me. Like one time he heard me playing live and cried and told me he reminded him of Shannon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it meant a lot to me because of knowing how much he loved him. So I was like, wow, that's really special to me. That's what made me like, I was never really like, out of that band, so I realized Michael had like a soft spot for them because Michael's such a hard. I was like, it's sweet seeing somebody who's. It's also crazy to me as I've gotten older. I have more respect too for that stuff because I didn't really like. I tried to rebel against it. I was like really into emo when I was younger.
Oh, okay.
I finally found my own genre. I was like, wow. This is like rock, but it's not like anything my mom likes.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Man. So you grew up in this rock and roll household with the connections that everybody had, including Blind Melon, who I'm a huge Melon head. I love I love Blind Melon. I got a chance to see him a few times. Met him once.
Oh.
Yeah. I got to see him in really early 90s at Stone Pony in New Jersey. It's this is a cool story. I went down with a friend of mine, and we went to the show at Stone Pony, and we got up to the ticket count, the ticket booth, the window there, and they said, "Oh, show's sold out." Oh my God! I drove like 2 hours to get there.
Oh my God!
So we turn around, me and my friend Sheila, and we start walking back, and this lady comes up. She's walking, and I'm like, "Don't bother. Show's sold out." She goes, "Oh, you guys want to?" Oh, and I'm forgetting one part. They did say that because the show had sold out, they were adding another show for like the next day or the day after or something like that. So I bought tickets for that. So I said, so I told this lady, I said, the show's sold out, but you might be able to get some tickets for the show that they added. She goes, "Oh, God, you guys want to see the show?" Huh? I was like, yeah, I drove like 2 hours to get here. She's like, "All right, well, hey, follow me." So she walked up the front door, goes to security, flashes some kind of badge and said, "These two are with me," lets us in. And then I turned to my friend Sheila, I'm like, "Holy crap, I can't believe we got in here." And as soon as I turned around, she was gone. I don't know where the hell she was. So we just sat there and hung out and watched the show.
So cool.
So so we left. The next show was a couple days from now. I brought a different buddy of mine, and we were hanging out, saw the show again, and sat down and at the bar and started talking to a couple people. And it turns out they were friends with the band. It wasn't the same people from the other night, but it was somebody else. And like, "Hey, you guys want to meet the band?" Because we were like the only people at the bar at that point. We're like, yeah, sure. So everybody came out, and they were talking. I think the only guy I didn't meet was Graham, the drummer. So we meet everybody, and then the last person to come out who was available was Shannon, and he was so short. I'm a short guy. I'm like 5'6". And he came out, and we were like eye to eye, but he had like hair down to his knees. It was insane. I'm like, he's like, "Hey, I'm Shannon." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So we ended up hanging out for the night with Blind Melon and playing pinball.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Virginia?
No, this was in New Jersey. I was living in New Jersey at the time.
New Jersey. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were at the Stone Pony. So, one of the most historical rock venues in the state, and meeting one of my favorite bands, and it was just a really cool show. So
that's so cool.
So that's a story you can always share with Michael. So now back to you.
I will.
Though.
I'm going to tell him that.
But let's get back to you. So the show isn't about me.
Yeah, sorry. No, it's okay. It's just like, yeah, but it's cool I like that you have that story. It's cool because I feel like they're unappreciated. That's nice to know that's great.
Oh, and I've gotten the only thing I don't have by Blind Melon is the release with the new singer. So Travis something or other. I can't remember his name, but never got that. Anyway, so you grew up in this rock and roll household, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue. You're listening to emo, but none of your music sounds like any of that.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean,
I can hear influences of other people that make sense, but not the emo. I mean, I'm hearing Tori Amos, Fiona Apple.
Yeah, I love her too, though.
Kristen Hirsch, and Kristen Hirsch. If you haven't heard it, check out either her solo work or Throwing Muses. It's
Isn't Tanya in that band?
Tanya Donnelly. I'd have to check.
I love Belly. I like them.
Belly. Yeah, Belly was fantastic. Tanya Donnelly, Juliana Hatfield.
I tweeted at her my thing.
Now
I don't. Well, I tried to make rules. You know what? It's weird. Like there isn't that much emo. It's like. Yeah, I know. It's very. I mean, I like all types of music. That's the thing. I like everything. It's like it's just like if that was the case, then it could sound like all types of shit. Because those are only two things. I also like pop, but I like a lot of the shit that doesn't sound like me.
Well, that's good though.
But yeah, I think it's good to have diverse tastes, and I appreciate music, and I'm really into lyrics. I guess when I was younger. Some of the hardcore and the emo bands I liked because of the lyrics. So even though I didn't really know what they're saying, like when I read them, I was like, And then that's why I thought the name Romantic Cancer was kind of a tribute to the emo.
Okay. Okay.
So it's kind of like fucking reminds me of like some emo last name, like that I would have had like as my unique like the name I would add as my username in 8th grade. It would be like Kiss Every Scar, Romantic Cancer, like Poison the Well, like Out of the Ashes.
See, that makes a lot of sense to me now. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now.
You say your mama didn't give you love, but please don't judge her. You suckled on your bottom lip for a tiny bit of comfort. So hard.
And so all the songs are kind of emotional and they're about like love and stuff, which is like, then it's not like the traditional emo, like whining, like, but it's like, I thought it would be kind of by like, whatever, like things, Romantic Cancer is like kind of an emo sounding like title.
So it's more of lyrically, it's more similar to it than musically then.
Yes, yeah, not musically. Yeah, but the lyrically part, yeah.
So how did you get started playing music? How old were you and what were you playing?
I started playing really young, like when I was like 4 or 5, the piano, and then played that till I was like 13 and didn't want to practice, and took guitar lessons for a little bit.
Okay.
Then didn't continue with that. I taught myself later on when I was a teenager, like guitar more by my piano skills. I just kind of like would learn songs and teach myself guitar.
Okay.
I was always writing. I wanted to be a writer, so it's like I would always be writing poems and stuff, and I always could play music growing up. And then at a certain point, I just started practicing the guitar more, teaching myself chords by looking online. And I'm just like, I memorize songs very easily. I've always had a musical memory, so it's like if I know the lyrics, I know the song. So it's like once I figured out the formula of like how all the songs are like go, it was just like something clicked, and it was easy to write my own songs. It's weird how it didn't happen sooner, because of how I could play and sing and write. But I was very shy too, I think, so long that maybe I did do it alone, but not like in front of people.
So how did you get over that?
I don't know. It's like, it was very weird. I don't really know. I just put myself out there.
So you just decided to get out on stage like a open mic night or something?
I just did. Yes, I went to an open mic night once.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And I played. My friend said he was going to play too, and he didn't. At the last minute, he backed out.
That always happens. Always the dickhead friend who backs out at the last minute, and then you're stuck up there by yourself going, shit, what am I going to do now?
Exactly. I was like, no. Like, he backed out, and I was like determined to do it. I like made us go there, you know? So I did. It's like, yeah. And then after that, I kind of had more confidence. Everyone around me was always playing music and declaring themselves a band, and so it was like everyone was
we are now like, a band.
Like at the time, my boyfriend at the time always was playing my guitar, like he thought it was his, like literally. Like later on when we broke up, like he was like mad I wanted it, and he would always play it. He just assumed it was his guitar, and he was surprised that I had Globelamp. Like he used to send me messages being mad about it. It's like being like, we could have written songs together, like yelling at me and stuff.
Oh my
and it's
gosh.
like, it was very weird. It's like, because I was more secretive about it. You know, all the dudes I knew who played music were like, listen to me shred, and we're like, da-da-da. And I like was always more of someone who like spoke music or singing and or shit that had like, you know, like they would just call it boring, or like they would be like, it's too repetitive or too boring, or like it's too simple, it's 3 chords or whatever. Like everyone I like knew was like, just like it needs to be like math rock or like intricate in high school. I don't know, people around were kind of like that, so it's like made me kind of self-conscious because I was like Cat Power and stuff, and I was like,
oh yeah.
And then
I've talked to a few people who Cat Power is a big influence on a lot of people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now I also hear a little bit of maybe, and I've read this about you, and it's funny because it clicked as soon as I read it, that I can hear a little bit of like Judy Sill or Vashti Bunyan, and those are actually new discoveries for me. Thanks to the show Patriot, I found Vashti Bunyan, and there's another podcast called the Shoegaze Collective that plays a lot of shoegaze music. but the guy's his library is huge, and he just posted this article about Judy Sill, and all these this both happened like a year or so ago, and so I read about her and I thought it was fascinating, and I love her song "The Donor." That song's amazing, and as soon as I had read that, and I believe it's on your Bandcamp page, and it clicked. I'm like, yes, I can definitely hear that influence.
Totally. The thing is, I never really listened to her as much till later.
Okay.
But I did listen to Vashti Bunyan, meaning, like, I listened to that when, like, I've listened to them now, you know, like Judy Sill, but, like, that wasn't, like, as much formative stuff for me.
Right.
Like, in high school, I listened to Joanna Newsom. Like, you know, when I think about Pivotal, like, the Milk-Eyed Mender came out when I was, like, in sophomore year of high school, and I remember feeling like that album was so, like, weird, and I never heard anything like it, and I thought it was from, like, the 60s, but it wasn't, so it was weird, you know, it was like, oh my god, like, what the fuck is this? And then that album, too, is so, like, iconic, because I feel like her voice changed after that one. Like, I chose my name. It's all creepy. It's like, that was, like, that one was, like, that's my favorite album. That's so good. It's, like, it's so quirky. I feel like people gave her shit for it or something, but that was like, I'd play it for some people and they would either get it or not. But, you know, I think that's probably how I got into Vashti Bunyan, is through Joanna Newsom.
Okay, and that makes sense because a lot of your stuff actually sounds folk, psychedelic, late 60s sound. It's a very, I want to say, it's like almost Summer of Loves through 69. I guess it's more like folk meets psychedelic, and it's kind of a throwback sound, but your lyrics aren't anything like what you'd be hearing back then.
How could I want? How could I want? How could I want anyone? How could I love? How could I?
Yeah, it's kind of a blend. You know, I'm thinking too about my upbringing with the rock and roll lifestyle. Like, also, my mom too was really into like the Doors. Like, for example, like I grew up, I used to think that Jim Morrison was a monster. I used to call him the monster. I mean, not in that way, but in my head, that's what he looked like, because he had a really low voice.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and we were in the car, my mom would like blast music in my head. She was a big fat monster. And so when I saw him, I was like surprised, okay, because in my head he looked like a big blob that was like yelling or something. I don't know.
Well,
I was like very young.
To be honest, at the end of his life, he kind of was.
No, but not like that. Like, kind of like, yeah, but no, he like a scary, like older. I don't know what I imagine. It was just very different than what I saw. My mom also was really into like old movies, and that's her major was in film at UCLA, and she was like really into like a lot of different time periods of music. Meaning, like, if Kurt Cobain died on my birthday, I told me that when I was like 10 or 11.
Oh my god!
I didn't really know much about it, stuff like that. Like, and I'm like taking note, being like, whoa. So her genre, like her taste in music, like all over the place. Even though she really loves 80s music too, it's like you know, like it's been all over with the music.
Man, it sounds like I get along with your mom pretty well.
Yeah.
That's about the time I started getting into music. Late 80s, early 90s. That was my time. That was my high school, college days, and
I like better music too.
I'm gonna agree with you, but I'm not gonna completely say it because I don't want to.
You can't completely. Yeah, no, it's not only true, but
I don't want to piss off anybody that might want to come on the show either. You know.
How about the mainstream was more popular back then?
Yeah, mainstream was everything was better. The mainstream.
When you think about we're allowed to start thinking like something like people used to make fun of stuff on the radio for being too like poppy sounding, like the Goo Goo Dolls. It's like now they sound like hardcore compared to like it's like. You know what I mean? Like, there's stuff on the radio. There's not even rock on the radio anymore. It sounds like. So it's just.
It's funny.
Back in the day, at least it was popular. It was good in the 90s, in the 80s, and some of the stuff too, 70s. Definitely the 60s, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'm waiting for that next cycle to come out because it seems like music is cyclical. It gets overblown. It starts off nice and raw, and then it gets slick and more overproduced, and then all of a sudden it comes crashing down with a Nirvana or a band similar to that. And it happens every 20, 30 years or so. So I'm patiently waiting for the next cycle to start.
Yeah.
So maybe you know what? Maybe you're going to be part of that. Maybe you're going to be the one that ends up breaking it down and starting it over.
We got to start it over.
Now, I have a question for you about some of your music and the way you go about it. Do you do a lot of your own recording? You have a DIY type of recorder, or do you go into a studio and work everything out?
Done in studio. It matters. On the last 2 albums, studio.
Okay, because and the reason I ask is because your music has a real indie feel to it, but the production quality is fantastic.
Thank you.
A couple of my favorite songs. I like Shala Love. That's fantastic.
That kind of has the emo vibe to me at the end with the shouting back and forth.
Yeah, I love the negative. But I think one of my favorites is Washington Moon.
Cool.
I love Washington Moon.
What thoughts keep you up at night, my dear? Come here to me. I want a California sun and a Washington moon in the same room at the same time. I can be in 2 different places.
Thank you.
That song, the way you sing it is absolutely beautiful. So that's been on my rotation constantly since I found out that I'd have a chance to speak with you, and started doing my research. So, I've become a really big fan. So I'm enjoying your music, and I'm letting everybody know that I'm having you on the show. So I've been trying to spread the word for you too, and get you some more listens and all. But I don't know if you can hear, my dog is going nuts right now. I think dinner has arrived. My wife ordered out tonight because she's not.
The dog's like, "Arr!"
Yeah, he's going crazy. I guess the delivery guy showed up. So, and the great thing is I can edit all this nonsense out because I can't tell if he's bleeding into my track or not. I can hear him. I don't know if you can hear him, but I can hear him.
I can't.
Okay, good.
But maybe you can, 'cause you're recording it. Maybe it's up higher or something.
All right, so back to your music. When you're recording, do you have a band that you record with? Because Globelamp is basically just you. So is there a standing band that you use? The same players all the time, or are you using different players? And how does that work when you play out and tour?
Yeah, usually I play by myself out, and on the recording it's just different people sometimes, or it's me playing different instruments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you've got you're pretty multi-talented then. If you're playing all kinds of because
I play the synth and the keys and the guitar on it. But if somebody needs to play the drums, I played the tambourine on the whole album of Romantic Cancer. On any album, I'll play the tambourine, but on Romantic Cancer, there's not much drums because I didn't want it to be, because I didn't want somebody on it. Sometimes I want to control because people feel like they are entitled to my music, and it's I just wanted to make an album that was how it's when you see me live, which is just me and the guitar, me and the keyboard. Okay. So Romantic Cancer, it's kind of stripped down in the sense compared to the Orange Glow, which the Orange Glow has Washington Moon on it. Chad's production. But I did play multiple things on that song. Now, that song is somebody played the drums.
Now
so the next album, I wanted it more like what it actually sounds like live.
Okay.
That's what Romantic. So that one only had me on it, the trombone by Morgan Evans, and the accordion by James Felice, the Felice brothers from that album, and then that's about it. The other Romantic Cancer, I play everything on there.
So when you go in to record that, specifically, I guess, Romantic Cancer, are the songs fleshed out in advance, or are you just going in with ideas and seeing what you can do, what magic you can come up with in the studio?
Yeah, for that, some of those songs I had thought out. I recorded a demo before, and I'd listen to it. Some of those songs were like 2 years old. It's like they were ready. They were like, I know what I wanted, and it was really easy to record them for me. First recording me was like cool, like because I recorded so many songs, like I didn't even put them all on there.
Oh wow!
Well, because he was used to having all these overdubs and stuff, which is cool, but it's like I feel like I wanted to make something more minimalistic. Like a lot of things are so overly like have effects everywhere. I don't know. I just thought this album. I mean, for my discography, I thought it'd be good to have an album like this that wasn't just full of like bass and drums on every track because everyone thinks it needs to be on it.
Right, and more stripped down.
Sometimes Globelamp's just me and the guitar singing a song sometimes.
Oh yes, so it's more of a.
It's not every album needs to be that way, but
right.
One album is good to have in there.
Yeah, it's more of a stripped down, like what somebody would experience it when they go to see you perform live.
Yeah, but I still like to experiment. Like I'm not saying that's all I want to make. It's just
right.
that as a listener, for me, when I listen to artists, I always wish they had an album that was more stripped down. Like some of my favorite artists who have a lot of trippy stuff, and I know they're good songwriters. Like I wish they had an acoustic album or something. So it's just like I should have one like that.
Oh, see, in the '90s, they did that with all the they just did it with the Unplugged series on MTV.
Yeah, exactly.
And everybody seemed to have one of those.
Right, but now it's like, should anybody even do that?
You think about bands that are popular now, and I don't know that they could do an Unplugged album with all the electronics on it.
I saw the Miley Cyrus one on MTV.
Oh, wow.
It was kind of good. I was surprised. I was like, whoa.
I didn't even realize she had one.
That was a while ago. This was like 5 years ago.
Oh, my gosh. Now,
I didn't even know they did it at that point.
I thought that was over and done with 15 years ago. So yeah. Is there a theme that runs through Romantic Cancer?
Yeah. Like somebody who is like afraid of love or like views love as a cancer that can't, like they don't want to catch it, like it's like a disease. Okay, so and that was influenced maybe by Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift fandom, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, is that something you want to? You're okay letting letting everybody know about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So at what point
they know?
Okay. So now you moved.
They know and they're annoyed. They're just like, please do 60s covers.
Let's go back just a little bit. Now you grew up in the LA area, the Orange County area, and then you moved up to Olympia, Washington. Why did you choose Olympia, and what drew you up there?
I went up there because I wanted to get away from where I grew up and also read about it, and I was obsessed with Nirvana.
Okay.
Because I liked Bikini Kill, and they were from there.
Right.
Funny, because the lead singer has blocked me now on Twitter, but that's why I moved to Olympia, is I found out she was Evergreen. So it's like, I went there and I lived there and started a band. I was at K Records and Kill Rock Stars. I knew they were there, two labels I liked. And then I ended up being an intern at K Records.
Wow, man.
When I first moved there. So that was cool. And it helped me, like, because I started a band once I moved there. And it was really, like, formative of Globelamp to move to Olympia. Like, because I had a band, Meowtin'. I was, like, Meowtin'.
Oh, okay.
It was a punk band I was in. And I was, like, the first real, like, band I was in.
Well, that's clever. I like that.
We were pretty awesome.
Are you still in? Are you still up there, or have you moved back down to LA? Or
I'm in upstate New York.
You're in upstate New York. Ah, man. Oh, so how did you get there?
Well, I recorded here the one album and decided to chill here.
Oh, nice.
And travel and make some more stuff here. Yeah.
I spent 3 years in Rochester, so I'm familiar with upstate New York. It's cold.
Oh, really? I'm in Kingston.
Okay. I know approximately where that is. Yeah. Oh, man, that's like snow 8 months out of the year in Rochester. It was awful.
It did?
Yeah, there's snow on the ground literally 8 months of the year. up there. It was.
Whoa, how high is it up?
It's right off of Lake Erie.
Okay.
It's right by. It's like an hour, I think, east of Buffalo, like due east. It was.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I went up there for photography, so it was. Kodak is up there.
It's really pretty.
No, it's actually the most gray place on the planet. It's cold and wet and gray, and it's springtime, summer, nice. After that, forget it. It's overcast all the time, and it's crazy.
Olympia too, kind of.
Yeah. From what I hear, it's similar to.
But Olympia is very bright, vibrant forest all year long.
Now,
I kind of makes up.
Well, I heard that you also are an artist in other senses. What kind of art forms are you into now besides just music?
Drawing and collage.
Is that something that you release at all, or you letting the public see, or is that just for you?
Usually just for me, or I use it like sometimes in stuff that I make or put out. But sometimes I show people. Like I have a Patreon.
Oh yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I put stuff on there that's like my journals and stuff, like scan them, like for random artwork. But sometimes I do put stuff on Tumblr.
Okay.
But I just put some of the stuff on my Patreon too because I feel like I need to like give them something that is different and or more intimate. Like I have so many journals from years of my life, and that's how I've written my songs. Like looking through my journals.
Oh wow!
Just sewing stuff together, basically, because, like I said, I wanted to be a writer when I was in high school. Like I was really obsessed with creative writing. I don't know what the hell I was even writing about, but I have sometimes I read some of the shit I wrote, and I'm like surprised. I'm like, man, like how should I read this stuff? I was like, I definitely went down an intellect. I'll be like, did I really write this? Like it's like I know it sounds dumb, but it's like. Shit. Like I was like, I'm glad I wrote a lot then, but it's so much to use. Like there's a lot of. I think that I'm more of like, I like doing artwork with my hands, but my wrist always hurts, so it kind of sucks limiting my like ability to want to make painting or.
Oh wow.
That type of art because my wrist hurts already from playing guitar. Like it's very shitty. My right wrist. So whenever I do like a lot of, sometimes I like showing random patches on stuff when I'm making something like, and my wrist will start hurting because because it's the guitar. Like, it's like, sometimes I have to sleep at night with the wristband on, like a wrist guard.
Right. Oh, man.
Yeah, so it's like that, but it's very shitty and I don't want it to get worse as I get older. So I'm trying to take like good care of it now.
Yeah, you better because that can come back to haunt you.
Right? I know.
Man. I don't want that because definitely want more music coming from you in the future.
Yeah.
I know I have taken up a lot of your time tonight, and I really do appreciate your time. Where can everybody find you on social media, and where can they pick up your music and any artwork that you want to release to them?
You can find me on anywhere on social media and on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter is Globelamp or my globelamp.bandcamp.com. Also on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Music. And I also have a covers album on my Bandcamp for free.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, now, I do. I have two covers albums on there.
Oh, man, definitely check that. I don't use Spotify all that much, so I'll have to check that out. I'll have to get on there and look at it.
Yeah, I like it.
Let me ask you one more question before I let you go, because you'd mentioned that when we were talking about your potential fathers, that he changed his name a lot. And now you changed your name to Le Fey. First of all, I want to know what was the impetus for the change, and how did you settle on Le Fey?
I don't know. Like I always in high school I read The Mists of Avalon before I found out the author was like psycho, I guess. Years ago found this out, but it's like this book. But I like the myth of it anyway. It's like in it Morgan Le Fey is like the sister of King Arthur who is always getting viewed as being bad and stuff. And so in The Mists of Avalon, she is like it's told from the perspective of the women in King Arthur and how, like, really she was a high priestess. It was like, so the Miss of Avalon talks about, like, how Christianity came and wiped out all the pagan religions. And so Le Fey means a fairy. And one of my friends when I was younger used to call me Lizzie Le Fey, and so I thought that was cute. And then when I read Morgan Le Fey, when I read that book, I always relate. I liked her. She was like short. I'm small and short, and so that she thought cute. Morgan Le Fey was like misunderstood, and like in the beginning of King Arthur, it says the quote, or in the beginning of Miss Avalon, it's like from a quote from King Arthur. It's like Morgan Le Fey was sent to a nunnery where she became a great sorceress of magic. I just thought it was a cool name, Le Fey, and the fairy. I've always liked fairies. Tori most too, but you know what's interesting is that when I looked up later on, I read this book that I don't know. I took Rhiannon. I got the book called Triad. It's like a book that inspired Stevie Nicks to write Rhiannon.
Oh, okay.
Some weird book. It's like some weird supernatural satanic book. It's like
it sounds like Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's like in it, the character name's Rhiannon, and then in it, I found out, well, through reading it, you know, I already made up Elizabeth Le Fey and had like my archetype thing, but then it's like, I found out that like Rhiannon is like kind of the same archetype as Morgan Le Fey, like, you know, because sometimes mythology has different forms, like they're both like the dark kind of aspect of like goddess. It's weird because reading that book that I found out about through Stevie Nicks is like, I found out that Morgan Le Fey is kind of like similar to Rhiannon, like, you know, the Fleetwood Mac song.
Right.
Like Rhiannon's based off of like the Welsh witch. So yeah, I'm into like mythology and stuff. So I don't know. I just like that name of the fairy. But not the fairy. Le Fey, you know, it's like more like...
Right. Well, that makes me, you know, if you call yourself Elizabeth the Fairy, you know,
that's a little bit. When people will get like mad at me or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You're either going to get in trouble or people are just going to like, what the hell is this? So that's probably a good idea. So, well,
exactly.
Thank you so much for joining me tonight, man. It was a lot of fun talking with you.
Me too.
What is your philosophy? Is it to kill all divinity? She is a sorceress.